Great to have you join us on Think Nigeria, the show that celebrates trailblazers and unsung heroes. My guest is a Clinical Associate Professor Emeritus at the University of Illinois at Chicago, UIC, in the United States. Beyond his tenure at UIC, he has devoted his time and expertise to advancing Nigeria's affairs, serving as a catalyst for positive change, both in the diaspora and Lagos State particularly. Welcome, Dr. Shaffideen Amuwo. It's a pleasure to have you come on the show, Dr. Amuwo. It's a great pleasure to say that I'm excited that you're sitting right here. It will be an understatement. So thank you for honoring our invitation. Thank you so much. Let me kickstart this conversation by asking you, your tenure at UIC has been marked with great achievements, particularly in the academia and the public health. Can you tell us the significance or some of the highlights of this period?
All right. The foundation for me to be able to thrive at UIC, University of Chicago, was actually started right here in Lagos as a student of Methodist Boys High School. So I'm quite humble and deeply appreciative of your giving me opportunity to say things. I never really had a chance to stay in any studio. In the US, I'm interviewed many times. Generally when there is some kind of crisis or generally in response to some issues affecting Nigeria. But it is the first time someone ever gave me an opportunity to actually talk in the studio. When you talk in the studio, you are limited to how you respond and to time. If I'm in the street, I can talk all day. So thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, sir. So like I asked, give us some highlights of that period at the UIC.
Well, that period was marked with being a student. A student who also working. But student working and trying to raise a family was never enough with many of us, because many of us actually knew that at some point in time you are coming back home. And this is home, although I've always been home, away from home. One thing that's always at the back of my mind is that I need to go home, the real home, which is here. So my interest and my work at UIC was thinking along that direction. It was the reason why I abandoned medicine and actually devoted my time to public health. Public health affects the life of everyone, no matter how you shape it. And it's really wise to keep yourself healthy. It's only wise to be preventive in terms of your attitude. So because of personal interest and because of thinking about Nigeria, I had to make sure that my training and my interest in people actually reflect such endeavors. Because I was in public health, I spent a lot of my time to encouraging Nigerians, really Africans and African Americans, to pursue public health as a career, to the extent that over a span of 20 years, there was nobody in the United States, I can make the claim anytime, that brought more black people, more Latinos, that is Hispanics, into public health than I did. And it wasn't by chance, it was planned that way, because I wanted to make that part of my contributions to Nigeria. So in an attempt to make sure that Nigerians were educated in public health, I was doing the same thing to make sure that Africans were admitted and graduated with public health degrees, with PhD, and many with medical degrees, as well as public health degrees.
Yeah, you've just touched on my next question, so maybe I should just go there. Okay. And that is that we do know that your initiative has been well received and quite commendable. Is there a particular reason why you did that? You know, particularly for me, when I look at it, it's as if it's your contribution in nation building, but maybe I'll let you give us an insight, because I've read your resume, and I found that some of this, like you said, you have brought in more Hispanics, Africans into public health. It must have been an initiative. Can you tell us what propelled that?
Well, it wasn't really planned that way. It was planned such that I would educate a lot of people. But I had a lot of luck. I had a lot of help. And if you know how academia is operated in the US, if you really have great initiatives, you have to find money to get it done.
True.
So I was writing a lot of grants and contracts on behalf of University of Illinois Chicago, so that I can get money to do what I really wanted to do. And Lord and behold, I was met with a whole lot of luck. And a whole lot of people actually supported me. So in my recruiting and making sure that black people were admitted and graduated, I had money to support my work, but not necessarily from UIC, from the United States government. Over a span of about 10 years, I received more money than anybody else in the same field. And that's what led to my being able to do those things. I think it was July 1st of 2004. I received an award from the United States Congress. The award was actually promoted by a gentleman who was also a friend of our current president, Congressman Danny K. Davis. From what I was told at that time, I was the first Nigerian or Africans to receive such an award. The award actually recognized my work, and I still believe, I didn't spend time to take a look at it, I still believe that award, I still remain one or two or three people who had received such award over this length of time. The award was more so in relationship to my getting students to pursue public health, medicine, and nursing, and the number was quite large.
I was just going to ask you, can you give us a figure of how many you would just, you can tell us?
The figure is relative. I can quote percentages which will actually make more sense because institutions are getting more larger. So if I say I brought in 200 people in 2001, 2002, it may be my new school compared to what may be happening now. So let me take relatively percentages. So I started.
Yeah.
If you look at what kills people in many black communities, there are issues that could be prevented. There are diseases that could be prevented. However, individuals who are addressing health issues in African American communities, black communities, are not people of color, are not people that look like me. So I actually set out to produce people who address issues affecting their health in their own background. So the interest was, if you produce people from your community to address your health, you would do a better job than bringing somebody from some other communities to address your issues. That was really the direct implications of not having people that will encourage the production of black people in public health. And I had a lot of support. I was lucky, but I was working very hard. I mean, I was working literally 8 days a week. Literally.
Is there any memorable experience from this, that you want to share?
I started with having about 2-3% of black people in public health and medicine. And by the time I was done, I had more than 18% of the population of people who were admitted and actually graduated. So about 2-3%. It's substantial when you look at the trajectory of how people become medical doctors, how people earn PhD in public health or master's degree in public health. It's very, very important. So more than 200-300, but the percent is what matters in terms of where I started from. I felt that the contributions ought to impact Nigeria.
Okay.
I was happy we had the current president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the governor of Lagos State. There was something they called Jiggy Bola at that time.
Oh, yes.
I knew about it.
So many of us were beneficiaries.
Your humble self, was the signatory to that.
Wow.
To that
That's interesting.
endeavor. Not only that, during that time, about $12 million worth of medical equipment was secured to support the effort of
that initiative.
Governor Tinubu at that time, because he had special interest in public health and medicine. So those things are memorable. They were done outside the periphery of UIC, but they were done with support
of UIC.
Of UIC, to the extent that I had the freedom to go out and get money. I was getting money from everywhere. We got a lot of money. And that lot of money helped us to develop a lot of good relationships. There are many people who are working here in Nigeria now who actually are beneficiaries. They are medical doctors, they are PhD, but quite a lot more work in the United States in that arena. So those glasses, memorable, because UIC gave me the opportunity to champion those things. The distribution of equipment, the securing of equipment from Cook County Hospital in Chicago are very helpful. So the job of doing these things were not just more so to meet the needs of Chicago, Illinois. It was also an attempt to meet the needs in Nigeria.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get more close and personal with Professor Amuwo. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We're still in the house with Dr. Amuwo. Doctor, we've spoken about a bit of your tenure and experience at University of Illinois, Chicago. But I want to come a little closer and take it away from your service and go, a little personal. You are a direct descendant of the royal family of Eletu Iwashe, right, of Lagos State. Am I correct? Very correct. Okay. And Amuwo Dofin. Now I understand where that name is from. Now tell me, How do you integrate your heritage into your work and academia life?
Well, except to do good, my heritage had little to do with what I proposed to do to support people. So your heritage, while it's quite gargantuan in the scheme of things, but you don't use it in terms of your trajectory in helping people.
Tell us a bit about your heritage.
Well, I'm not a student of history. I only know what I was told. On the mother side, my grandfather was the first Aṣojú Ọba of Lagos, Idile Sarumi family, right there in Itagarawu and Saleko combined. As for the father side, my grandfather, Alhaji Amuwo, that was the gentleman that pioneered the Atibaba. Many of you
were too young, or probably not even
probably,
born then.
You were not born then. And they settled at a place called Amuwo. I think that's the right pronunciation. But before they changed to Amuwo. It's an greatly expand area. Many of you probably heard of Amuwo Dolphin area.
Yes.
So it's still the same area.
Okay.
I used to be quite excited. I'm going with my grandfather when I was at Methodist Boys High School to that area. For some reasons or the other, whenever we were going there, we would leave home by 3 a.m. in the morning to get to Amuwo Dolphin by 7 a.m. So it would take us about 4 hours to get there. So
I want you to look at this. Just take your mind back a little and look at what you've done. How do you see the future of sustaining all of this? And do you foresee challenges?
Well, I am very, very interested, very, very happy about the future of Nigeria. But in terms of how we get there, you know, what is most important is the trajectory. It's the kind of advancement that is going on every day. I don't know of any day in the past 30 years that I don't get up in the morning after prayers that I don't read about Nigeria. This can be a perfect place to be, but we worked for perfection. And I have to compare and say that these guys don't know what you are talking about. I mean, they will say, well, that's why we all want to leave Nigeria to go somewhere, this Japa syndrome.
Japa syndrome.
And I always tell them that if Japa syndrome did not exist in 1970, we would not have left. It's still the same thing.
So you're saying now that the Japa syndrome is nothing new?
Absolutely not. We would not have left. I had a scholarship to go to Russia. We spent a lot of time at that time after Methodist Boys High School, after trying to do HSC, after trying to do GCA level. And the only thing in your mind that if you don't go to university here, you have to go overseas. I know Japa.
No, you can't. It adds flavor. I know Japa.
I know Japa. Otherwise, we will never. And so these guys, they think now is really a big deal. But my concern is, at my age, I always get concerned about the kind of experience that these people have when they go to these places. Because they don't know. People lie a lot. One thing about that, what I know about many folks is that there's such existence of lie DNA that they don't tell the whole truth. They don't tell the whole
trying
truth.
to keep up with what they call now fake life? Yeah, you know, you fake it until you make it.
Well, all of us fake it until we make it. Everybody has to fake it until you make it. But the point is that you have to make sure that you understand the consequences of that faking it. You cannot assume that because you are faking it, you have to abandon Nigeria. I'm not an activist now in terms of whether Nigeria should be this or that, but I am very, very much in tune with the need for Nigeria to be Nigeria. And for Nigerians to be Nigerians, rather than trying to think that they can japa and the life will be great for Nigeria. You cannot. It's like in Kesharudia. Is that what I said?
That's it. You're right.
You can't bastardize this place and think that you will come to this place and thrive. If anyone had to bastardize this place, it's those of us that left a long time ago. But we aren't doing that. We are not doing that.
You know, like everything else in Nigeria, we always look for, you know, a title or something to allude to. So I'm sure I think the rate at which many of our people are leaving the country has been quite alarming, and that's why people are really, you know, wondering, is something going wrong or is something going right? But notwithstanding, we appreciate the fact that people like you said, jackpot, you know, so
they'll be coming back soon. I bet they'll be coming back soon. I'm telling you, the current policies being put together by current administration, they'll be coming back soon.
Okay.
People left because it's better on the other. It's not that it's not better. Things work better in many ways. But how could you participate in the building of a nation when you just leave to bastardize that nation? I thrive on nation building.
Yes.
That's why everything I do is to attempt
has something to do
build
with Nigeria,
rather than break down and attempt to say everybody's a thief, everybody's this, everybody's that. Ridiculous. Things happen in other countries just like they happen here.
Tell me, with your extensive, you know, influence and experience, what is your advice to aspiring professionals, you know, looking to make a difference like you have done in their communities, both at home, abroad, you know, but aspiring, somebody is going to listen to your story now and will feel compelled to do something. What would be your advice?
I think younger people who are trying to advance in certain areas of their interests should always have mentors.
Mentors?
And not one mentor. You can have many mentors. In fact, you can have mentors to the extent that you can change, say, well, I really wanted to be a technocrat. No, I'm no longer interested in that. I want to go and become expert in the field of engineering. You can't become an engineer if you don't know an engineer. It would be quite challenging.
Absolutely.
I think it should be part of the process of training for those people who are graduating to say, I have 2 or 3 kids that I'm working with that I want them to be not really like me, but for their trajectory to be like what I am doing now. That is really very, very crucial. I built into that process what I call pathways to health professions.
Okay.
That mentorship, which is very, very important. And it's not pairing a boy with a man or a girl with a man. It doesn't matter who the person is. It could be a woman, it could be
Could be rich, could be
And
poor.
that mentor should be, there are several levels of mentoring.
Absolutely.
And it must be rich enough that the mentees and the mentors should formalize and have some goals that the mentees want to achieve. And they're all human beings. Mentees can change their course at some point in time because of family dynamics or some other things. But you put your eyes on the prize. I think that's really very, very important.
I want to thank you, Dr. Amuwo, for coming on the show. It's been a great insight and pleasure listening to all these fantastic things that you have done. And I hope as we are working towards a better Nigeria, we will continue to think Nigeria. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. I will keep thinking
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Thank you, sir. You would agree with me that sharing such rich pedigree and achievements has been fascinating. Trailblazers like Professor Amuwo bring honor to the brand Nigeria, both at home and abroad. Make it a date with me till we meet next time. I am Siju Alabi. Bye for now.